Hi everyone and welcome to another tutorial. In today's tutorial I'm gonna do a milk box that is suited for small votive candles. However, as it is a Halloween box, you could just as well fill it with Halloween candies or anything else you like. I have a little Henry for my focal image, however the coloring of him is towards the end of the video. We are going to start with the box. I'm going to cut this piece of Simon Says cardstock to 5 3/4 by 6 1/4. All the measurements and scoring and everything you can find on my blog. I'm cutting down some layering pieces for the outside of the box, and I'm starting off with 2 little strips here at 1 3/4 wide, because that will give a 1/16 of an inch border on the sides of the box. And then I'm cutting these strips down to 2 3/4. Every strip will give you 2 of those pieces, and I end up with 4 of them, so I can cover all of the 4 sides with pattern paper. And as I said earlier, all the scoring and everything, I have made a little info image where you can find how everything works. So to start scoring, I'm starting at the 6 1/4 inch side, and I'm scoring at 1 1/2 inch, 3 inches, 4 1/2 inches, and then 6 inches. And this will be the sides plus a little tab to put glue on. I do gonna do a couple of markings, one at 3/4 and one at 3 3/4, and this is because we are going to do that little triangle for the milk box later on. And you see there's the little mark. Then I am going to move this around. It's actually going to be the other way around with that little strip at the bottom. And then I'm going to first score for the bottom, which is 1 1/2 inches. And then I'm going to score for the side, which is 4 inches. So this is the height, actually, the height of the box. And that is at 4 inches. And to finish it off, I'm going to score at 5 1/4 to give it 1/2 inch of a lip on top for the little box. Then I'm going around and I'm creasing all of the edges. I am using a Teflon bone folder to do that. You can use any kind of bone folder, however I have found that my Teflon bone folder makes these creases just magically. I don't know what's special with it, but it does really work. I highly recommend it. Really highly recommend it. I usually score everything on one side and then continue. I don't know why I'd scored one edge and then not the rest, but yeah. Then we're going to do the little triangles, and the triangles is going to be on that little middle part there. So first I'm actually moving down the score. You could score the whole lip because you will fold it. So when you have done that little line, you're going to do small triangles from the edge to the middle there. So you get a big triangle with 2 small triangles on each side, basically. So you line it up from one corner down to the edge, and then one corner, and then, or the middle, and then down to the corner. Yeah, it makes a milk box. Then you're going to fold them not outwards but inwards, so in the other direction of your previous score. And then I just use my fingers to just crease that little score line a little bit extra to make it pop, because we're gonna need that when we put it together. So that's all the creasing. Now we're done with all the creasing. Now we're gonna start cutting, and this is gonna be simple. I do a little remove this little bit, and I do a little kind of angle cut on the lip that is going to be taped down, and then I just cut up this 1 1/2 inch lines up to from the bottom, and that is all. Now we can put it all together. So So I'm going to use some score tape to adhere it. I'm going to do score tape on the side, and I'm going to use original tape on the bottom. However, I would recommend score tape or liquid glue on the bottom in case you are going to have something heavy in it. However, it does stick well together for a votive candle just using ordinary tape. I'm using the score tape because it's 1/8 of an inch and fits perfectly on that little tab there. Then I'm just folding it together. This will automatically line it up perfectly. Then you don't have to fiddle that lining up. It makes it super simple. Then I'm doing the sides, the back, and at the last piece I'm doing is the front, which I put a lot of tape on, and then I just push it in. To kind of make it a little bit more stable, I take my little bone folder, push it in and push it down. And then I just can kind of push in on those triangles and you have your milk box. So the next step is to decorate the sides, and I'm using some Booze and Brews pattern paper. This is actually the Halloween papers from last year by Doodlebug Design. This year's paper have very similar color scheme, and it's super cute. I wish I had it, but I haven't been able to get it, so I'm just using up every little scrap piece of Booze and Brews papers that I have. So I'm going to need to invest in some new Halloween paper next year because I don't have anyone left anymore. This is basically the last couple of pages. These little pieces, by the way, was 1 3/8 by 2 3/8, which I said when we cut them down. So that is the kind of decoration. I put my little votive candle in there, and now we're gonna add a little piece of ribbon. These are sort of my Halloween inspired ribbons. I had a mess in my little ribbon drawer, so I made these little things, and then I just put the ribbons around them, and that actually helps with the mess. It keeps it contained. So I cut a piece of this orange organza ribbon, and to help me hold this together, because I realized very quickly that I'm not going to be able to do a knot on that, so I use my self-closing tweezers. These are some cutter bee tweezers. As you can see in the color, they match my scissors. I think the new ones are grey and Teflon coated. These are the kind of older ones. Then I just do a little knot with my ribbon around this. While keeping kind of that ribbon taut, I am carefully moving my tweezers so that it sits around both pieces of the ribbon, and then I keep it a little bit extra taut, and then I do the little knot. This makes this ribbon kind of hold that box together. As a finishing touch, I'm gonna do a little bit of a bow. I'm not an expert bow maker in any shape or form. I'm kind of rubbish with it, to be honest, but I'm trying at least. Trying to get that perfect size that I wanted, and when that is finished, I'm cutting that little piece off. And to finish it off, I take my little Henry here, and I'm going to use some 3M foam tape, cut that down, and just add him to the box. Little Henry here is by Make It Crafty, and Make It Crafty right now and for the next couple of days have a 25% off the whole store, or all the digits at least. So I do recommend, if you want to buy some of the Make It Crafty digital stamps, you can find them there for 25% off. There are a link in the description down below to this little cute Henry. And this is the finish of the box, but it's not the end of the video, because now we go into the coloring. So this is Henry. I am going to color Henry green. I'm using some YGs 05, 07, 09 and a G09 for the darkest color. The G9 is a tad bluer than the rest of the colors, and that will give it a deeper shadow. It's a way to get a little bit of a deeper shadow. when you are coloring to go towards blue or purplish. In this case, as this was a yellow-green, I just go to the next color in the color wheel, which towards the blue, and that is green. I have done a pretty good blending on him. I could have left this blending as I'd done it. However, I am adding some little bit of dimension to this little guy, or a little bit of texture, because I thought, well, he could be a cute little scaly thing. I don't know. I just wanted to make scales because scales are so much fun. I did use this technique on one of my mermaids in my mermaid video last Monday, I think it was. You will have links to that at the end of the video. And I used the same technique for scales because it's a very simple technique and you don't have to kind of bother that much. What you do is small U shapes. Sometimes you can have the U's kind of connect to each other, so you have multiple U's, 2, 3 in a row, or you just do 1 and 1 and 1. I do them with the very tip of my nib, and I do it with the darkest pen at the darkest shadows, and then I'd go to the next darkest pen and to the next darkest shadows, and so on, to make these little U shapes and give him this texture. And yeah, that's all it was. Then I'm adding some yellows for his eyes and a little bit of T2 and T1 to his horns and teeth to finish him off. The last thing I did was to cut him out with my Cutter Bee scissors. You can always use like a silhouette or something like that. When it comes to digital stamps, you don't really have any dies to use. But you can use your silhouette, your brother's scan and cut, machines like that to get this cut out yourself. But yeah, that was the finished box and image. Remember, you can find the little infomercial thing on my blog. Here are 2 other videos. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please thumb it up. It means a lot to me. If you have any questions, comment down below and I'll see you later. Bye!